Hello and good morning. Happy Saturday to you. Happy Saturday to you. And welcome to Tea Time with Tony. I am, of course, your host, Tony. And today we are finishing up our Return to Live Theater series. I got to tell you, I've had such a good time this entire month interviewing actors, directors, technical people. It has been an absolute blast. And thank you so much for coming along for the ride with me. It has been an honor. It'll be a while before I do 4 shows again in a row. That's a lot, and I'm getting old. So, anyway, thank you for joining me this lovely Saturday morning. Our good friends at the Weather Channel says that today is going to be a lovely 86 degrees for a high, and it's going to be sunny. So it's a great day for you to get out there and uh, enjoy the day, enjoy nature, do whatever it is that you do to make you happy today. But you can do it outside without burning up. Am I muted? No. Okay. All right. Now, on this day in history, in 1957, the Little Rock Nine went to their first day of class. Now, if you don't know what that is, this is when nine black girls um, went to what was an all-white school in Central High in Little Rock, Arkansas. And they were met with a lot of resistance, and it was a big deal. But today is that anniversary in 1957. So that was wow, the sun just came out. Hi, y'all can see me. Anyway, um, and then in 1970, Hello World, there's a song that we're singing. The Partridge Family debuted. Isn't that fantastic? And in 1981, Sandra Day O'Connor was sworn in as the very first Supreme Court justice. Really important day for all of us. Before I begin with the other things, I want to say welcome and thank you again to the always silent but ever present producer Mike, with whom none of this will run smoothly at all. So yet again, thank you, my friend. Birthdays. If today is your birthday, happy birthday. May it be everything you want and more. And I hope you have a fantastic day, however you choose to spend it. And if it is your birthday, or if it's your anniversary, happy anniversary to you. Or if you're just celebrating being alive today, that's good too. Any reason to celebrate is a good one. So I hope you enjoy it however you spend it. If today is your birthday, you share your birthday with a lot of people. Will Smith turns 52 today. Donald Glover, aka Childish Gambino, is 38 today. Actor and rapper T.I. turns 41. Mark Hamill, Luke Skywalker, and the best voice for the cartoon Joker ever known to man, turns 70 years old today. Basketball great Scottie Pippen turns 56 today. Catherine Zeta-Jones turns 52 today, and she shares a birthday with her husband, Michael Douglas, who turns 77 today. Barbara Walters, still with us, 92. She is hanging up in there, ain't she? And Heather Locklear turns 60 today. Now, in my private circle, my cousin Larry has a birthday today. My friend Allison Carr across the way has a birthday today. So happy birthday to you, Allison. Laura Ritchie, happy birthday to you today. And Michael Bussey, who I've actually had on the show, his birthday is today. So happy birthday, Michael, Larry, Allison, and Laura. Have a really fantastic day. My friend Philip Bailey, shout out to you. He celebrated his birthday 2 years ago, 2 years ago, 2 days ago. And I hope you're still having a great celebration, my friend. I love you very much and happy birthday. And on this day, we would like to remember the original Superman, Mr. Christopher Reeve. He would have been 69 today. You know, he passed away a few years back, but today is his birthday. So we want to remember Superman. Dun, 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 dun. If I may be dating myself, but yeah, that's what that is. All right, so now we've got that out the way, and I just want to, and Betty White is still kicking. That's absolutely. I just want to remind you that if you have questions for our guests that are coming up, which I'm very excited to introduce, please put your messages in the chat. I will forward them to our guests as appropriate. Producer Mike will be sending those to me, but you can absolutely send those to me and I get those questions to them. Also, remember that after the show, I will be posting this to YouTube. So if you're not able to catch it right away, you want to watch it later, you want to forward it to somebody, I will post that link to YouTube when I'm done. Okay, with all that being said, let's get to our guest, the real reason that I am here today. These three talented gentlemen have given up their time on Saturday morning, and I am so grateful that they've done so. They are gifted in their various fields, and they all wear different hats. And I am fortunate enough to know them all and have them all here. So without further ado, I would like to please have you welcome Mr. Byron Batista, Clark Coffey, and Paul Jacques. There they all are.
Hello.
Looking bright-eyed and bushy-tailed this morning.
Yeah.
Lots of caffeine.
Yes.
And I appreciate it. Okay, so I have, ladies and gentlemen, these gentlemen are from various areas. Byron is in Utah. I don't know where you are. Byron, on my screen, you're right below me.
Where I am in Utah, or where I am?
Oh, well, I'm talking about on the screen.
Oh, I don't know. I'm just looking at a picture.
Okay.
There's all sorts of
There
stuff.
probably will move. And Clark, you're to my left, and then Paul, you're diagonal. I don't know if that's the case. So
It's like Hollywood Squares.
Yeah.
almost. Okay, so Byron is in Utah geographically right now. Paul is my Riverside neighbor. He's in Riverside here with me as well. And Clark is in Orange County right now. Okay, so thank you all for coming all over the place. It's just random. I love it, every minute of it. Okay, so here's how this is going to work. I'm going to kind of work my way from my point of view. So Clark, I'm gonna start with you. Paul, I'm gonna go with you next, and then Byron. And then I'm gonna hit Byron with another question, go in reverse. Okay, so Clark, starting with you, the oldest one in the group.
The oldest one in the group?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. You know that was sarcasm. You hear that sarcasm?
Now
You hear that?
sure. Look how fantastic I look to be this old. No, I'm totally kidding.
Yeah. Don't make me hit mute and stop video. I continue this with Byron and Paul. But anyway, young man, you have you've done a little bit of it all.
A little bit of it all, yeah. I have.
So for those who may not know who you are,
which would be everyone.
Okay, well, that's fine.
That's okay.
Well, I've done a couple of shows with you, and I do know you, and a few people who may be watching this know.
Mike knows me, your
and
producer.
So does Ralph Griffey, absolutely knows you, and of course John Shannon and all the usual suspects. Now you do stage and television.
Well, in kind of a quick nutshell, I started on stage. So when I first started studying acting, that was in Denver at the Performing Arts Center there, and the National Theater Academy there in Denver, which was a really wonderful place. So I started studying acting there, and that was all stage acting. Then I started doing theater there in Denver, kind of mixed in a little writing and directing for the stage there as well. When I moved out to Southern California, I continued to do theater, but then kind of segued into pursuing acting on camera more, moved to LA. And this happens to a lot of people. In the process of pursuing acting, I more and more wanted to create my own work. So instead of necessarily just waiting for an invitation to act, I started getting involved in a lot of the other kind of filmmaking tasks, right? So I started producing, I started directing, I started, you name it, editing, writing, the whole nine. So instead of waiting for somebody to cast me, I started working on my own projects. So now, kind of fast forward, I've been spending a little more time wearing the producer hat and the writer hat than I have the acting. Definitely, I still have a great love for acting, both for the stage and screen, but I've been putting a little more of my time into producing and writing right now.
Do you have a preference?
Preference for just out of all of those areas?
Something that just really kind of, they may all ring a bell, but sometimes certain things just create a musical track. This is it.
Yeah. So
So
I think I'm going to cheat. I'm going to say there's two. Directing is something that I think probably one of my greatest joys is directing. But actually for the stage, one of the most fulfilling and satisfying things I ever did was direct for the stage. It had a large ensemble cast. It was a really extraordinary experience. But then I also very much do enjoy acting. It's there's just such an immediate, especially of course for the stage, there's such an immediate kind of visceral, give and take that takes place between you and an audience there. When you're sitting alone writing, and that's kind of a thing you do that's solitary and it's grueling sometimes, and it's a struggle, and you're doing that for hours and hours and hours over the course of months and months and months on your own. There's certainly a reward to that, but it's not as immediate, and it's not with other people. That's a real delayed response kind of thing. Same with producing, so I would say, yeah, directing and acting are probably the two tasks that I get the most enjoyment out of.
excellent. Okay, but let me segue, ladies and gentlemen. Between these three men, they have really extensive resumes. This show could have easily been 2 hours. Unfortunately, I ain't doing that today. So, so we got a limited amount of time. But I'm just saying these guys are no slouches in their fields. So, which leads me right into Mr. Jacques, who I've known for a long time. You wear a lot of hats. I've seen you perform on stage. I know you direct. You even teach. Um, how? What is your passion? What was your spark to get started in the arts in this mesh passion?
Well, my spark, I'll tell you, it's kind of like we talked about before. When I was 2 or 3, my sisters used to babysit me by watching Star Trek, the original Star Trek. And so I AMT had these little sets, the Explorer sets, the phaser communicator and tricorder, and I smashed about a dozen sets running around in the backyard doing shoulder rolls. And I thought that was the coolest thing, to pretend that you were somebody that you weren't. And that kind of, I think for a lot of us, what makes us still perform at our advanced ages is that the little kid never grows up.
Mhm.
And I think that's such an important thing. It's something I tell my students at Crafton, is that don't let the little kid grow up. Even if you don't keep acting, just keep that little kid alive as long as you can. Don't let anybody tell you to grow up and do this and do that. Keep the imagination going. I mean, that's really, so I think that's the thing is, listening to Clark, I completely identify with a lot of it, that you produce, you write, you direct, you act, but it's all that what if. It's all that spark of what if that just is great. I mean, Tony, we've worked together at the Dickens Festival and all this other stuff, and it's all what if, right? There was no moving camera when Dickens was alive. So I mean, it's the what if. What was he like? What were these other novelists like? Shakespeare, would do Shakespeare. Well, they weren't recording in 1603, so what we have our best what if, and that's the fun of it. So I mean, I guess if that's how I got started was that, and it just kind of grew. I didn't do my first show until I was a senior in high school, and from there it was just kind of everything and anything. I did my first film shortly after. I started a troupe that toured the Renaissance fairs because that was a lot of fun for 5 years, and wrote for that. And yeah, but I mean, it was really going back and just kind of having that imaginative spark.
I segue real quickly. I have never been to a Renaissance fair.
Oh, Tony.
I swear to you. But y'all, hey, turn down the hateration, because I guarantee you, if I ever get to one, I will lose my mind. I will be on those horses. I will be jousting for real. It will be a thing. They'd be like, Mr. Harris, you can't be doing this. These are actors. I'll say, I don't know that.
Right. Well, you know what? I can get some tickets. We'll talk about this. I can get some
Some
tickets.
of them don't know it either. So
Paul, Jacques,
Yeah,
do not threaten me with a good time. I will show up.
Oh yeah.
But back to you. You mentioned something. Somebody put it in the chat. Don't let the little kid grow up. They love that, which I think should be a T-shirt.
Yeah.
How are you keeping that little kid alive today, September 25th, 2021?
Well, part of it's for me having kids. I mean, our girls are, you haven't seen them in a long time. They're 17, 16, and 6.
Hold up. 17.
Yeah, they're learning how to drive. So I mean, but part of it is
Oh,
is
mercy.
working with them, and they want to do, they see dad doing stuff, they see mom doing stuff, they want to do some of that. So part of it is seeing things through their eyes. I think that teaching is a great way to keep it alive. When you teach, everything you do for yourself becomes sharpened. Anytime you have to explain it, it becomes sharpened. Anytime you have to explain an acting technique, your technique gets in just infinitely better. As a director, it gets sharper. As a producer, it gets sharper. As a writer, it gets sharper. I think I'm writing the best scripts of my life now because I've had to mentor so many students that everything I tell them, it just kind of, what's funny, okay, so get in class and you're explaining something, and then you get the itch to make sure that you still have it, right? And so anything you're lecturing about, anything that you're talking about in lab, you immediately want to go to and make sure that you know what you're saying. Yeah, because I don't know if anybody else here is an educator or not, but sometimes you get so caught up in the classroom that you don't have time to do a lot of projects.
Mm.
And so your time becomes very precious. And so you choose the projects that you're going into very carefully. And so when you do get on stage or in front of a camera, you're just hungry to exercise the muscles,
Mhm.
right? And I think it's not a vicious circle, it's a great circle to be in. It's the circle of creation that you know, you feed off the enthusiasm of your kids, you feed off the enthusiasm of your students, and it becomes symbiotic in a good way. uh so yeah, I think that's probably the how. I mean, you want to join in the fun. You know what I mean? You don't want to be a spectator. You don't want to be on the sideline. You don't want to be just telling them how to do it. You want to do it. And so I think that's probably the best answer I can give.
Okay. Well, you mentioned something, and then I'm gonna segue right over here to Byron because I think it fits. You mentioned the term educator. I would imagine I would make the argument that anyone in theater on some level who's participating in it is an educator.
Mhm.
Because if you're acting on stage, somebody's watching what you do and they may like your technique. They may teach, you may be teaching them that way. When you're directing somebody, you're learning, you're giving them different styles that, I've had the benefit of having several different types of directors. And I know what type of director I like, what type of director I don't like, which ones I work with, blah, 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 all that. Okay. So now heading over to Byron, who is in another extensive resume. Now, your primary, based on what I've saw, is wig stylist. Am I saying that correctly?
Wig master,
Wig master.
yeah, it's I was a dresser and a costumer, and then I sort of found my niche with the wigs. And it was just something that was needed in Southern California at the time. There wasn't a lot of people doing theatrical wigs. So I was just in a show, and I said, here, let me take these home with me and I'll fix them. And a career was born. But
Do you remember the show?
Oh gosh, the first show that I worked on for that was what was that called? Oh, I can't even think of the name now. It'll come to me later. It's been so long.
Okay.
It's really been a long time. I know. Oh, we did the Christmas for the Crawfords, the Los Angeles production, and I played Gloria Swanson, and did the entire character. Oh, I did the entire character in black and white. So I came on stage, and
fantastic.
Holly Woodlawn was playing Joan Crawford, and it was a lot of fun. But I finally just worked my way over into wigs, and that's kind of been my main bread and butter for the last decade or so.
Which begs
But
the
I do all of it.
question, which begs the question, because I don't know how I missed this, that you've been living in Utah. Is there a big wig demand in Utah?
There hasn't been a big demand for anything because of COVID. Who knew that when we decided, my husband was able to keep his job from Los Angeles and work from home. So the minute we found out he could work from home, it was like, fine, our home doesn't have to be in California anymore. That's when we picked up and moved. It was kind of hard because I'm born and raised in California and very much used to it. And I had absolutely no idea that moving out here, theater would quit. There would be a stoppage in theater. I mean, who in the worst nightmare, you never, ever would think that. And it literally happened. So, but now I've taken a job at one of the local theme parks, and it kind of, with the education thing that everybody else was talking about, I'm working with much younger kids, but I'm getting a big thrill out of it because they're learning from me just for my age and experience, and then I'm learning all sorts of new stuff from them. So it's a great little symbiotic relationship.
May I ask what you're doing? You don't have to give it
right now, I'm the park's wig master. I'm styling wigs and touching up the wigs for their magic shows. And they have a Halloween show now called Lore, 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 the Sinister Sirens. And it's a whole magic stage show. And they have live singers who are phenomenal. And I'm doing all the wigs for that. And then I'm also doing some makeup for their Frightmares, their Halloween thing that goes on. I go over to the park in a couple hours and I get to paint faces. So it's been fun because literally there's been nothing to do for the last year.
Mm-hmm. Excellent. Yeah, we felt it out here too. I took theater for granted until it was gone. I was like, that's a great escape for a couple of hours, but now I don't have that,
Yeah, exactly.
So I did miss that. But the next question is for all three of you, and I'm gonna keep you on the hot seat, Brian, and then Paul and Clark. You're all performers and you all wear all these hats and you work with all different types of performers. What type of performer is your favorite type of performer to work with? Starting with you, Byron.
I enjoy somebody who is comfortable in what they're doing. And the only people that I've ever not enjoyed working with are the people that aren't comfortable in what they're doing. I can pretty much nail it down to that. Yeah.
Mr. Jacques.
The Fearless. I like the Fearless because I kind of gravitate towards musical comedies and Shakespeare. And you have to be fearless. With Shakespeare, the language hasn't been spoken for 400 years. So you have to have people that are willing to really delve in if they haven't and kind of learn ESL, Elizabethan as a second language. And with musical comedy, I mean, probably one of the most fun shows I've done was for Jesse at the California. We did Spam-A-Lot, and you have to be completely immune to the ridiculous because you have to live in it. And I find it so fascinating just to completely throw yourself into something that is so outside of the realm of the normal that because I mean, what you said was really interesting, Tony, that, we take theater for granted a lot of times. And I agree. I completely agree with that. But then it's that 2-hour escape. Well, it's not just an escape for the performer, it's an escape to the audience. And Joseph Henson always says this, that you don't know who's in the audience. You don't know who needs that show. You don't know who needs to see that show. And I think that the fearless performer goes out there and immerses themselves in the world of the show and gives that escape for the audience for the 2 hours that they're there. And I just completely appreciate the performer that can do that.
Okay. Clark.
Yeah, I'm going to cheat again, and I'm going to say a couple things. One is nice. So when I was younger, nice wasn't a big deal for me. And I was all about, okay, it's the project is the only thing that matters, right? If it's a film, if it's a stage performance, that no matter how we get there, it's the ends justify the means kind of mentality. And as I've gotten older, I have really done a 180 on that. I don't want to work with people who aren't nice, period. I don't care how talented you are. I don't care what else you bring to the table from an artistic perspective. I'm too old to work with people who aren't nice. So nice is a big one. Then I think the other one is curious. Of course, I mean, everything that other people have mentioned here are really wonderful things too. So I'll just kind of say this to be, kind of add to that. Curious. I want to work with people who are really, really interested and passionate about the story that we're telling. I want somebody to be curious about the story. And the more curious you are about the story, the more I think you ultimately bring to whatever the project is. And that goes for any role, right? Not just actors. That's across the board for cast and crew. Being curious about the story, I think, is absolutely vital.
I like that. I'm gonna keep you on the hot seat too, and then work my way back around, because I'm always disappointed when I hear that an actor that I care about is not nice.
Yeah.
Or I'm always disappointed. I'm like, and
I
I don't have to
know.
watch this, and I got to watch this film or television show and know that you're a jerk.
Yeah. It's horrible.
I don't like that at all. Okay, but keeping that, and you kind of asked this if the logic fits. The actor you don't like, I'm assuming, would be the mean one.
Well, yeah, people who are inconsiderate, right? I mean, people who are kind of self-absorbed, self-involved. And a lot of times this stems from a lack of self-confidence is kind of, I think, the real root of that kind of behavior. So I'm empathetic to it. And I'm certainly not perfect myself. And, I've had my own diva moments for sure. But yeah, I mean, people who are self-absorbed, inconsiderate, who aren't generous and gracious. Theater and film are collaborative arts, and it takes a team of people to do it. And go be a painter or sculptor or something if you don't want to work with other people.
Amen.
Yeah. Yep.
All right, Paul.
Amen.
Well, I got it, and that really strikes a chord. I mean, if you're around theater all the time, right? I think that just being a courteous human being is a big deal, and it's something that we're very careful to. I guess going back to the college setting, at Crafton, we teach not just to be accepting, to be inclusive, and that's interesting language, because you're not just saying, okay, that's great that you are the way you are. It's kind of like that. Okay, cool. So what can you explain? Can you, and I think that the inclusiveness kind of goes a long way towards what Clark was talking about. I think that I've worked with performers, and I've worked with, with people who have their equity cards, who are just rotten human beings. And, you get them in the audition and you're like, well, maybe I can work with them. And then you get into the rehearsal process, you're like, oh, hell no. And you're to the point where it's like, okay, this name is never crossing my desk again. Never.
Yeah.
And I think that just a little bit of empathy goes a long way. But I think that, going back to what Clark said too, I mean, this is kind of why I started writing. I got very interested in people's stories, and I think that just being a human being as a performer goes just a long, long way, so yeah, I've got to agree. The mean people stink, man.
Yep.
All right.
Yeah,
Byron.
can I just add, like, super quick? I want to add, because Paul, you kept saying a word that I think is vital, and it's really worth thinking more about, and that's empathy. I mean, empathy is what brought me to the art of storytelling. Storytelling is all about empathy and curiosity for other human beings. Mm-hmm. And that's a real paradox, that if you lack empathy as a performer, this really makes me wonder, like, what is your orientation to your craft, period? right?
It
Because to
shows
me,
on
it's,
stage too.
I
It,
mean,
it comes
yeah.
across
Yeah.
on stage, and it makes you an unlikable person to watch.
Absolutely.
Right, because
Absolutely.
I always tell my students acting is reacting. It boils down to that, right? And if you
Mm.
have a selfish performer who is not empathetic, the acting process grinds to a halt.
Yeah,
It's
'cause
one-sided.
yeah, because
Yeah.
it's all about them. How do I
Right.
look? It's about canned and planned performances is usually what that turns out to, because you don't want to look
Yeah.
bad. You don't want to be embarrassed. You talked about fearless. I think, was that you, Paul? You had mentioned
Yeah.
fearlessness, and that's
Yep.
totally connected to being vulnerable and being empathetic.
Right.
These are all interrelated.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
And I have to echo all of that, because I tend to, when I know, because backstage you see the real. You see the real person. You don't see the character. You see the real person. And if backstage you're a jerk, it's hard for me to push through that if I have a scene with you on stage,
mm,
because I just like, I just, I don't even want to be here. I don't want to give you my best, because you don't deserve it, because you mean to everybody backstage who will save your butt if you forget a line.
yeah, especially 12 performances in or something. I mean, it just magnifies.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct. Byron, have you had anybody in your chair that when you were working on that wig and you knew they were just like ugly, that you just said, I'm gonna mess this up?
I would never.
I didn't say you would. I said
would-
you may want to.
I would never mess up my work just to make somebody else look bad. They can make themselves look bad all on their own. And I've made a career out of working with a lot of difficult performers, but there have been some that she was. Oh, there's two of them that I will never work with again, ever. And yeah, but I would never mess my work up, because that's on me. So, I'll send them out there looking as fantastic as I possibly can. But once they come backstage, I don't have to deal with them. One of them, I literally quit to her face, and she was she's a very well-known actress. She's very, and another, anyway, that negative people are not fun to work with. I keep telling everybody what we do is important in the fact that it's release for people. It's entertainment. It's a place for people to go and forget their problems and be entertained for a couple of hours. We're not doing brain surgery. It's not rocket science. It's I don't think that it's anything that we need to get so worked up over, that there's anger and there's hostility. And no, I mean, that's why they call it a play. They don't call it anger. They call it madness. It's a play, So,
Yeah.
it's just, let's be nice to everybody, because, it's a small world. I mean, if you've got a bad reputation,
Yeah.
it precedes you, and it will keep you from getting work. So,
And how have the young people you've been working, how have they taken to all the experience that you have? Because a lot of times we don't realize what people have actually done and what they can actually bring to a table. How do they respond to you?
Well, first of all, it's like, why is this old man here? Second, then they start to see, the work that I do. And the one thing about hair and makeup people in theater is that you really do want the person with the most experience, not the youngest person on the block that's going to charge the least amount of money.
Mm-hmm.
So that's always worked out. But the kids that I work with, they're all really great. And once they realize that I'm not some creepy old man that just wants to touch them or something, they realize that I have like experience and stuff to be able to teach them. So yeah, and they're very kind. They're very sweet. I specifically said, I don't want to be a head makeup artist. I don't want to be in charge. I just want to come in. I just want to paint some faces. So I've been doing that, and the other girls are well, why aren't you in charge? I said, because I'm older than everybody, and I should, but I don't want to be in charge. I just want to paint some faces and have some fun. Right.
Mr. Jacques, as a director, is there something that is in your your mental storage space that you would just love to direct that you haven't done so yet?
Oh, probably either Gentleman's Guide or Something Rotten. Yeah, I mean, two of them, they're recent shows. They are, but I mean, Gentleman's Guide just is mind-boggling. You know, the one character that plays the dice squiths, and I just think that the pacing and mixed with the Gilbert and Sullivan style music is just, it's just ridiculous amounts of fun. And Something Rotten, I mean, it's Shakespeare musical theater. I mean, you can't go wrong with that. And it has this, you know, the musical number with Nostradamus, and it's so much fun. I think those are probably two of my bucket list that are just, I have to do them. Have to do them.
How about as an actor?
Oh, wow.
Buckle up. I'm gonna ask you these questions next. And Byron, I got a special one for you, sir. Don't get too comfortable.
You know, I think that, because I'll be turning 50 next year. And I think that I'm starting to think, you know, in the next decade, what would be a fun role to play? And I think Lear. I think, yeah. I think if we're going to pull something out that is going to be just do it while I have the mental facilities, don't do it while I'm actually King Lear. I think that would be an interesting one. But I think that, yeah, I think something like that would be fun, that you could really sink your teeth into.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that's really, although I think that I probably at some point would love to along with a bunch of people my age, would love to play Nostradamus and Something Rotten too, because it's just, you're not on for very much, but you come on, you cause havoc and do all sorts of interesting little prophecies, and it's a ridiculous role. But I think that, okay, third one. I think that having grown up, my voice coaches in Phantom in Los Angeles, Crawford, I think that I'm about that age where I think I would like to play one of the managers. Either Andre or Fairman. Because that's another one where they're not the biggest roles, but they're ridiculous amounts of fun. So,
hey, sometimes the smallest roles make the biggest impact. I've learned that. I've seen that. I've seen people with really little parts have the biggest people waiting for them backstage after a show, because it's just something connected. Okay, so I take it. Mr. Coffey, what would you like to produce? Let's start there.
Yeah, boy. So I have really been focused on tackling writing for myself. You know, I think it took me, I'm a really slow learner, and I will admit it. It took me about a decade or longer before I had a really, like, a repeatable, comfortable process that worked for me for acting, where, you know, any role that I might have gotten, I knew what I could do to prepare for that, right? I'm still in that process for writing. I have not gotten there yet. So, you know, I'm looking forward to being able to direct something that I've written and that I'm really proud of. And I don't have a name to that yet. I'm in the process of putting that together. So I can't name something specifically, except to say, when I've got something written that I'm extremely proud of, that's one of my big, you know, goals for me, kind of 5-year plan, if you will, is that I absolutely would love to direct a film that I've written that I'm really proud of.
Wow. Now, is there Marcus Orange? Because it seems like you might have stayed in LA, unless I don't know. I would be on complete transparency.
Yeah.
I do not know the Orange County theater scene, or if there's or whatever type of in that area. Is there a place out there for you to do that, or are you trying to start something out there like that?
Well, now, so I've been working mostly for camera, so for film, and putting my own projects together. And that's kind of taking place all over the place. For example, I'm shooting a film that I'm producing and co-writing in Seattle in December. So production is all over the place now, but there definitely are theaters here. Matter of fact, there's a really wonderful theater called the Chance Theater that's just down the street from me. And I have actually worked with them. They do an annual show where they bring veterans in from the area. And these veterans,
super cool,
and they tell their stories, and they're real stories of these veterans, but they're kind of directed so that the stories they tell kind of flow into into kind of a narrative they have a narrative thread, if you will. So I've volunteered and worked with that theater for that show before, and it was really wonderful. But like so many people, I mean, of course, COVID has shut everything down, and it was kind of right when I started to think about maybe getting back out there as an actor and trying to do some things on stage. Of course, that all went away, and it's been gone for about the past year and a half, unfortunately.
Sidebar again, I found out that the Tony Awards are coming on Sunday. That is the national gay holiday for you straight guys who don't know. We shut everything down to watch the Tonys. Do not call me. Don't have an accident. I don't ask to borrow money. Don't knock on my door. That's the Sabbath for the homos. I'm just saying. In case you're
I've gotten to the
wondering.
point where I only want to watch the musical numbers. Isn't that sad?
Well, this it's just, well, yeah. Duh.
But it's so odd to have it, because we're used to June with the Tonys.
Jeff said the same thing when I told him they were coming on. And he was like, now?
Well, because you get used to it. I mean, it's been this way since 1947, right? And so now it's just kind of like, okay, well, Christmas is in May.
Kind of.
You know? But I understand why, because of the pandemic, and you have to have shows kind of.
Everybody's trying to get back on their schedule. They have to get, I get all that. But I got to be honest with you. Then I'm going to jump right to you, Byron. I'm happy to see any show with an audience in it.
Yeah.
At this point. I was really sad at Thanksgiving last year, because one of my traditions is the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade. And not to see, I was glad that they did it, because I think they get that it is part of people's tradition. But to not see those people lined up out there, it was such a little thing that was missing, but it kind of really affected me. And I was like, God, we got to get past this doggone thing so we can get back to that type of normalcy. So I'm very excited about the Tony Awards. I just want to see the performers and look at the people in the audience who think they're dressed cute, but they're really not, but nobody told them. That whole thing, But anyway.
It'll happen, but
I'll be there for it.
Vaccinated. You got to get vaccinated, people. Get vaccinated.
I had the Moderna. Well, maybe not bulletproof, but it's the best, right?
I got the Johnson & Johnson shot. Had no problems. Nothing.
Pfizer here, no problem.
Pfizer here.
Yeah, it'll happen. Live theater will come back, but people have to
get it together.
Vaccinate, wear a mask.
Do it. Yeah.
Please.
Oh yeah, because we had to come up with a whole raft of guidelines for our first live audience at Crafton, which is coming up Friday. And so,
really?
I just spent a couple of months down at a theater where we couldn't get even the little 5-minute fittings that I usually do, just boom, boom, boom. We literally had to stop and do 5 minutes of sterilizing between each. And change masks and change gloves, and every other day we had swabs stuck up our nose, the whole 9 yards. And oh boy, it's.
I would imagine that theater people have a different take on, but that's not to say theater, I should say people who are performing in the arts have a much different perspective about how the pandemic has really affected something that, again, was taken for granted, but is such a cornerstone in our culture, because everything you do has to do with somebody else. And if that is not there, like, what do you do? It's like you got at least one, if not two hands behind your back trying to perform in your gift.
And then I see all these theaters doing it with masks, the clear masks on their face. And it's like, well, yeah, I mean, theater's back, but now we're here with a different COVID variant, and things look not as good as they should be. And
Well, I am willing to take what it is. I can go outside and you can put that medicine in the water hose. I'll shove it up my butt and I'll take it and we'll do
Thank
it
you.
forward. I have whatever it takes. I got to get back to some sense of normalcy. I know it was a visual that some of y'all didn't want, but I just said it. Okay.
yeah, I know. Yeah, do it. Give me the shot. I don't care. I mean, I don't care. Are you tracking me? I mean, I've got my cell phone. You can track me through my cell phone. Give me a call. I'll tell you what I'm doing. Oh.
Yeah, Siri seems to know what I'm doing all the time. So it's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, isn't that the truth?
So yeah,
Byron, I didn't ask
So
you
in
this
this.
question, and then I want to get to this. I could do this all day. Y'all are fantastic.
Aw, you
I
are
would-
too.
I would really love and hate for all of us to be in the same restaurant and sitting up chatting. Can you imagine the ridiculous yet hilariously fabulous that would ensue? Okay, but I didn't ask you, Byron. Is there a show that you would love to do wigs for that you haven't done yet, or conversely, do you have a favorite show that you styled for?
well, Hairspray is my number one.
I get
mean,
that. I totally
yeah.
get that.
I did the first national tour. I was a star dresser on the first national tour and got to put pantyhose on Bruce Valanche 8 times a week. I earned my union card on that one.
You sure did.
And then I actually designed the production at the Hollywood Bowl as
nice.
well. And
Cool.
I've done close to 20 different productions all
That's
over the.
why I met you.
Yeah.
Remember?
Yeah. I think, yeah.
Yeah, because we saw Chicago with Ashley Simpson
Yeah, I
and
designed
Drew
that.
Carey.
I designed, well, at the Hollywood Bowl, I designed Hairspray, the producers, and Chicago. That was the other one.
Wow.
Yeah. So, but doesn't mean squat when you move to Utah and then everything collapses. So,
Yeah. but
But,
the gift is still there.
yeah, I'm getting ready to, I got a call yesterday from the opera, I guess. So I'm going to check that out. And they've got a union theater about an hour away from me.
We're in Tuacahn or up north?
No, I went down to Tuacahn.
Okay. The land of the flood.
Oh, well, they weren't even doing that because the pit was filled with algae or something like that. I stayed for about a month, and then their neurotic director had me fired. And I took the job because I was desperate to get back to work. And yeah, I won't be back there again. $500 a week to design. No. Anyway, that was a little.
Well, clearly
No.
you have to be careful with this group.
a very good friend of mine who, if I said her name, you guys would all know who it was, sent me a little card after they let me go. She said that they also did that to a costume designer friend of hers, and she calls them the Tuacahn turds.
Oop.
So,
Well, there we go.
I don't know. They told me that
Getting real.
that being fired, it wasn't going to affect me getting hired in the future. And I told them, why would I want to come back here when you don't support your designers? So whatever. Yeah, no, not Tuacahn, but the Hale Center is like the only union place in the country or in the state. So, and it's about an hour away, but yeah, so I'm going to go down and talk to them. Find out what's going on.
Okay, so we're gonna have a little more fun like that. We had like.
Oh,
we
and I
have
never
not
answered your
been-
question, actually.
That's all right.
Hairspray's my number one. The show that I would love there's actually 2 shows. The show that got me into theater was Peter Pan. Seeing a production of that blew my mind as a kid. And I would love to design a production of that. And Little Shop of Horrors is one of my absolute favorite musicals of all time. And I've done Audrey wigs for people. But I've never designed an actual production of it, which at this point is crazy.
I think they should do Little Shop of Horrors. Those 3 girls who I think are fabulous.
Mm.
Most thing in the show. I think they should do it with 3 drag queens who can sing.
I want to do an all black version.
Okay, call me. I'll come to Utah.
I want to do an all black version, and I want Jennifer Lee Warren, who was one of the original urchins in the original production. I want her to play Audrey.
Wasn't she Ronette?
I can't. She was the one that sang "Alarm goes off at 7." And he said,
Oh yeah.
She said she was like, she's one of my best friends. She's like, yeah, I came up with that riff because I said I wasn't gonna sing "Alarm goes off at 7" and you start up. Yeah. No,
because that was with Ellen Green at the Public, right?
Oh
Yes.
yeah, she took us to church with that.
Yeah.
Oh yes.
She took us to church with that. Absolutely.
Yeah.
So
So
last time we did it where the urchins, it was kind of like all of the Skid Row. So we had an African American girl, Hispanic girl. So we kind of broadened the scope of Skid Row. So yeah.
Did you see the production at the Pasadena Playhouse
With MJ? No, I didn't.
Yeah, that was wild.
Yeah.
It was wild.
Yeah, I didn't get a
You
chance.
see, you notice me and Clark just kind of looking at you. We're going to start our own little private chat.
Yeah.
Because this is clearly the Byron and Paul show.
Yep.
Oh no.
I'm totally messing with y'all. It's fantastic. Okay. All right. So here we go. This is my favorite thing to do. One of my favorite things to do with this show. James Lipton, if you don't know anything about me, if you've never seen the show, is my bar for interview. He was always so gracious to whatever host he had. And he did this questionnaire. He always ended with the questionnaire by Bernard Pivot. It's altered quite obviously, but I like doing it at the show because I think it's fantastic. Okay, so we're going to do that with the three of you. Okay. So Clark, you're first.
All right.
What is your favorite word?
Love.
Paul.
Family.
Byron.
Oh God. Friendship.
Oh, that's a good one. Okay. Byron, what is your least favorite word?
Moist.
That's my wife's too.
Okay, mute. We're done. No, I'm sorry. That's fantastic. Oh my God. Hey, we're gonna give Paul a minute.
Boy, I just
You have completely altered his life there, Byron.
yeah.
What is your least favorite word, Paul?
No.
Cheryl
Clark.
Lee?
Are
Are you married to Cheryl Lee Ralph? Wait.
No,
What?
I'm married to a German.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Tony knows her. By the way,
No.
Sarah says hello. But I don't like no because no just ends the possibilities.
True.
Clark.
Whatever.
Okay. I think the award has to go to Moist though,
Yeah. I think
yeah.
Moist wins that one.
Yep.
because your shade changed, Paul.
Yeah. Boy, that just
Clark,
Yeah.
what turns you on creatively, spiritually, or emotionally?
Oh man. Passion. Intensity.
Paul.
Possibility, options, flexibility.
Okay. Byron. Can't say Moist.
A sense of humor.
Huh.
I have literally fallen in love with people just because of their sense of humor.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good one too. Yeah. Byron, what turns you off?
Self-centered people.
Yeah.
Self-centered, selfish, stupid people. All the S's.
All the S's.
All the S's.
Paul.
Can I steal his answer? Because I mean, that's the thing that
Yeah.
that's the thing that shuts me down. I mean, I try to keep an open mind, but that's it. That's like the wall. You know, you run into it, it's like, okay, so I mean, none of us matter then. None of us matter. You're the most important person in the world in the room, and nothing else matters.
Gotcha.
Yeah, that is the worst.
Yeah.
That's worse than Fruitcake at Christmas.
Moist fruitcake.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Oh my.
Oh my.
Your turn, Clark.
Thank you, Byron.
Oh my
Thank you.
gosh. I think I've forgotten the question. It's been so much moist going on. I've forgotten the question.
It's a thunderstorm.
Thank you for
Oh my
taking over
gosh,
there,
it's
Byron,
raining
'cause
cats and dogs.
I needed a minute.
Oh.
Okay. Clark,
What
turns you
turns-
off?
Oh, a lack of curiosity.
Hey. All right. Clark, what is your favorite curse word?
Oh my gosh, why is this so hard? I don't know that I have a favorite, but probably fuck.
It's a good one. It's a good one. Paul?
I have to say it all the time because I'm in a school situation where God bless America.
Byron?
Yeah, I would have to say either fuck or fuck.
Did you see I had to like sing it almost because I felt embarrassed to even say it. I don't know why.
Yeah, fuck.
A couple
Or
of
Jackalope.
what?
I like to use the word jackalope. That's the one that I use in school settings or where I can't.
Yeah, jackwagon's another one.
I
Don't
feel,
be a
like I
jackwagon.
feel like I need to use that in the sentence every day this week.
There's
I
your
think-
there's your assignment.
Yeah.
Byron, that's great because we're going into Tech Week, so I think jackalope. I'm going to work that in there.
Jackalope. Yeah. It just I don't know why.
All right, I'm going to borrow that.
So Byron, and then back around. What sound or noise do you love?
Five minutes to places
Ooh,
or
I've never
places.
heard that before. Places, okay.
Places, please, for the top of the show. Places.
Paul?
I think theatrically, it's the gasp in a scene when the audience really gets it.
Oh yeah.
That's a good one too.
That's the one that it's like it makes your heart stop.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
Clark?
My wife's laugh.
Oh, that's a good one.
That's a good one. I love a hearty laugh. I love a good laugh.
Yeah.
It's just infectious.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Mhm.
it is.
It's infectious. It's hard to have a bad day when someone around you just has this big, boisterous laugh.
Yep.
Yeah, that's
Um,
kind of funny because we kind of talked Star Trek before, and my wife's favorite Star Trek moment is in Star Trek 6 when Kirk and McCoy are on trial, and there's that one Klingon that laughs at McCoy's joke, and it's that big, boisterous, hearty laugh. She's like, "That's my Klingon." So yeah,
Clark, what sound or noise do you hate?
Oh. A cat in heat.
That's mine.
oh,
I just
That's
don't.
mine.
I hate the sound of a cat in heat.
It's gross.
It's gross. And I just real quick story. So I didn't grow up with animals as a kid. Like I didn't have pets or anything. Okay. And when I first moved to California and I lived in Redlands, and there's kind of like a feral cat situation going on around there. I'm
Yeah.
sitting in my apartment. I've got like the sliding glass door open and I'm like laying on the couch. It's like a Sunday afternoon. I'm like vegging out watching TV. And I hear what sounds to me like a desperately crying baby. And I'm like, what? And it sounds like it's like right on my patio. I'm like, what the hell? Oh my, I'm flipping out. I go out there and there's this crazy damn cat in heat, but it scared the bejesus out of me. So yeah.
yeah.
I'm like, somebody do something. It's just gross. I hate it with a passion.
It's gross. It's nasty.
It's
yeah.
like it's the
Yeah.
worst. I'd rather listen
Yeah.
to a lawn blower.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, back to you, Paul. See, this is what we can never connect. We can never be in person.
You know what?
Paul?
I didn't know I hated the sound until about 2.5 weeks ago. It's a variation on Clark's. It's raccoons in heat.
Oh Okay, you have to do it.
How it runs.
Do it impersonation. You have to.
I agree with Clark.
Okay. And do you know when it happens? It happens at 1:33 in the morning.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In
Not-
the tree, in the
not
tree that is near your
1:33.
bedroom window.
Yeah.
Oh my
And it's in the
gosh.
tree.
Oh,
It sounds like the tree's gonna break. It's terrible.
yeah.
It's terrible.
Oh,
And
my.
then they escape on the patio roof. So you can't. You just can't.
Okay, so I'm going to have to look that up because now I'm insanely curious.
I never knew. I knew that they had to make babies because little raccoons come from somewhere.
Yes.
But do they have to make so much damn noise doing it?
Yeah.
Your turn, Byron.
My
Here we
least
go.
favorite noise is styrofoam.
Ah, like the squeaky.
Ooh, that's a good one.
That it's like nails on a chalkboard don't affect me at all. Squeaky, that styrofoam squeak thing literally makes every hair on my body stand.
Oh.
Yeah.
Byron, what profession other than your own would you like to attempt?
Well, I had actually thought about cake decorating, which sounds really weird, but it's creative, and
It is.
it's cake and frosting, so you can't be bad.
I've seen
That's
some
true, because
people
even
jack
eating
it
your
up,
mistake is not a bad thing.
but it's
Exactly.
your mistake.
I
When
mean,
you paying for it.
it's one of those things that people. It's like chocolate. You don't. It doesn't make people upset. Can't complain about that. You really can't complain about sweets or chocolates or candy or a job that is complaint free. How's that?
There you go. Mr. Jacques, other than your own profession? Yeah, I mean-
Astronaut.
Whoa!
Astronaut.
I want to change mine.
Yeah.
I haven't even gone yet, but I want to change mine.
Okay,
I'll make
so-
cupcakes for the flight.
Hey, you know what? I would totally eat those cupcakes.
Me too.
Make a bunch so they can all float around.
Yeah.
Make them a carrot cake with the
Oh,
really moist carrot.
That's
Carrot
my favorite
cake.
cake.
You
I
just
love
said
carrot
moist.
cake.
Yep.
You did say moist.
oh, carrot cake with the cream cheese icing.
Yeah.
Oh,
There's a
The
carrot
best.
cake variation that has like little pineapple bits in it.
ooh,
I don't
making
know.
me
Utah-
hungry.
Yeah.
I started a garden here in Utah, and our squashes are crazy. It's just like it spits out child-sized zucchinis. So I've been doing a lot of zucchini bread.
That's
Oh,
good.
That's good too.
That's good. Yeah.
That's good.
Okay. What profession other than your own would you like to attempt, Clark?
Journalist,
Oh.
like a war correspondent.
Wow.
Oh,
Yeah.
You guys pick cool things, and I was just like, I'm gonna decorate cake.
Oh, that's pretty cool. Haven't you ever
Well,
seen Noel on the Great British Baking Show? I mean, he's
Yeah,
great.
that's awesome too.
that's
Like
awesome.
extreme cakes, like Ace.
I
That's
worked
good.
I
That's
worked
good.
for a newspaper, like the first real job I ever had. I worked for this little newspaper in Boulder. It's called the Boulder Weekly. And you've seen those like weekly alternative newspapers. Of course, newspapers are dying now. And I worked as like an ad designer / salesperson at this little newspaper. There was like 20 of us. And one of the guys there was somebody, he was only like maybe 5 years older than me. But when you're 22, right, that seems like so much older. And he was like this, he had like gone to Cuba, like snuck into Cuba and done some reporting and all this kind of stuff. And I just thought, whoa, that's like sounds so amazing. And he would come back from all over the place with all these stories. So that's where I got my,
Wow.
yeah, it seems so
Good
cool
one.
to me.
It's a good one. Clark, what profession would you not like to do?
Oh, dishwasher. I don't know if that's a profession. That's like a job. I don't know if that counts.
Some people do it for a living. Yeah.
Yes, because I've done it before. I did that my freshman year of college to help pay for my dorm. I would, while all of my friends would eat in the dorm cafeteria, I got to clean their dishes, and I would not ever like to do that again, please.
Okay. Paul.
Zoo custodian.
Ooh, it's a lot of poop.
Yeah.
I know, and big poop. You can
What,
always say
in quit show business?
Ah.
that's just a different poop. So, I mean,
Yeah,
it's
it's
just,
different poop.
yeah, I just know. No. Big elephants, big poops. No thanks.
Byron's face. Byron, what about you?
I probably an auto mechanic. I would be complaining about, my hands being dirty all the time. But of course, my hands are now covered in makeup from makeup. So what's the difference really?
Last one, gentlemen. Byron, if heaven exists, what would you like to hear God say when you arrive at the pearly gates?
Sucker.
Oh,
Um, well, I mean, if it, good job.
Paul?
I think probably just welcome. That's such an open term.
Mm-hmm.
I think welcome.
Okay. And Clark?
Yeah, I mean, I think just you did all right, kid,
Yeah.
Congratulations on not being an asshole.
Yeah.
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 The thing you
get-
don't want to hear is I'd like to talk to you about your car's extended warranty.
Right.
Just-
Or hold on, I think we might have made a mistake. Can you please
Yeah.
come over to the side?
Yeah.
Please step to the side. We'll be waiting for
Yeah.
I'm gonna need to talk to you for a minute.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry for the inconvenience, but
Yeah. The thing you
This
don't want to hear
strange.
next.
yeah.
Wait,
I've
no,
never
man.
seen this before.
Yeah.
You walk up and be like, okay, we're gonna need you to step in that line.
Yeah.
That's a bad sign.
Yeah.
Okay. So anyway, there were some comments here. Someone said they've been waiting for someone to say moist. Thank you, Brian. Someone
You're
said
welcome.
too much fun going on here. And someone says they love the list. So, and I think this is something that you said, Patrick, that they responded to about a show. I don't know this show. It's called Bundle and Lydia. Do you know
I
that
don't know
show?
that one.
But somebody said that was the show that kind of did it for them. So I'm not. I don't
Bundle
know
and
that.
Lydia?
Yeah.
I'm-
Traditional spelling, Bundle and Lydia, traditional spelling as well. Okay, gentlemen, before I go, is there anything you want to let people know that you're up to? Is there a website I can get people to if they want to get into contact with you, or anything? Are you freelancing, anything like that? Because I will post that in the video chat that I do later.
Next
Yep.
Friday, Crafton Hills College is producing a world premiere. So come out to Ukaipa.
What's the name of the show?
Helen, Goddess of Arson by Bailey Schlittman. She's a recent MFA graduate from USC. She's a member of the Orange County Playwrights Alliance. And so we did it as a staged reading and chose it for our season. And we're excited to have people in the audience. So come out and see it.
Excellent. Byron,
Okay.
are you working? I know you got a job, but are you working on anything else that's
I'm just doing some projects. I'm looking for more clients. My favorite one passed away this year, Mary Wilson.
Oh,
Yeah, that was kind of a shock because I don't even think she was sick. But other than that, I have my wig site, Wigs by Byron, all one word. If you want to buy a wig. Yeah.
Cool.
okay? And Clark.
Yeah, I mean, you can go to my website with it, which is just clarkcoffey.com. And I've got some trailers for my films, upcoming projects. But I think maybe the most interesting thing there for other people, I co-host a podcast, and you can find it there. And it's called Soldiers of Cinema. And we're almost 40 episodes into this, which I'm pretty amazed by that we've gone this far. But every week we discuss, my co-host and I, Cullen McFader, we discuss a different film. So you can check out my podcast there.
You've done 40 episodes. I want to be you when I grow up.
Oh,
Okay,
I do
so-
have one more thing I want to plug.
Yes.
Watch the movie Val with Val Kilmer.
it's awesome. It is super cool.
I heard it
yeah.
was good.
I'm his makeup artist in the
Oh,
film.
nice.
No,
No way.
I
I was
feel
the one
like that's
putting all the ma-
fantastic.
I did
Ah.
his makeup for the tour, so it was the full prosthetics and
Oh,
For the Mark Twain
Yes.
tour?
yeah. And then suddenly the film
Ah.
came out, and everybody's like, "I think this is." I'm looking at you, and I watch it. I'm like, "Yeah, that's me." Okay, so yeah,
Wow.
so watch Val.
How was he to work with? Byron, can you hear me?
Oh yeah.
How was he to work with?
Um,
Oh,
he was interesting. It was difficult because there was nobody in charge, and he was the producer, and
oh,
yeah, literally showed up an hour late to opening night
Mhm.
because he was too busy schmoozing or whatever. And then he wanted to, it takes me a certain amount of time to put makeup on a human being.
Right.
So yeah, it was one of those type of situations where it was like, I hate to be the asshole, but can you please show up on time? So yeah, it was okay. It
Yeah.
wasn't great.
Okay.
So I was kind of shocked that he put me in his film.
You didn't get fired again.
No, but the first thing he made me the scene that's actually in the film was the very first day I met him, and I was doing a test makeup on him. So I get there and there's a full video crew and everything, and it was like
Oh wow. And he didn't
Yeah.
tell you. Yeah.
nothing to make it a little more stressful,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I can imagine.
Not only first time putting makeup on Val Kilmer, but he's got an entire crew there filming it.
Yeah.
So yeah, so
No pressure.
Wow.
All right, well, gentlemen, y'all exceeded expectations. I last week when my technical show was here, I thought I heard producer Mike laugh a lot. This time,
Silence, crickets.
he was absolutely out of his mind laughing.
Aw.
So you guys, that's always a really great indicator. You guys are really so much fun. I'm gonna post this to YouTube. I will let you all know. It takes a minute when it's up there, and you can share it with people as you will. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I would love to have y'all all back.
Love
Awesome.
to do it again.
Yeah, it was wonderful.
Yes.
You're a
Yeah.
fantastic host, Tony. Thank you so much for
Absolutely.
inviting us and everybody, like Paul and Byron. It was a real pleasure to meet you. And
Absolutely.
it was a really fun
Oh, yeah.
conversation.
You
I
guys
really
too.
enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Great time.
All right, gentlemen, have a wonderful day. I love all of you, and thank you again.
Bye.
Thank you.
Okay,
Bye.